think Patrice is the greatest I've ever seen, my favorite. But a lot of people would be like, yo, Patrice was kind of an asshole. But you couldn't deny him.
Patrice was an asshole to everybody.
That's facts.
He was always nice to me.
Yeah, because he thought you were a real one, bro.
He's nice. Patrice was nice. He was just, you had to be able to
Don't bullshit him.
Joke. You had to be able to take a joke. You had to be able to take it right on the chin and laugh right back.
Wow, what did he say, Joe?
Oh, he was always funny. Always. He was just always funny about everything. Patrice had a way of looking at things where we would all talk and then would wait for Patrice's point. He's one of those guys. If you talked to Patrice and hung out with him, I hung out with him in Vegas once. We were all at the backstage at one of those Opie and Anthony shows. He was just such a... I remember hanging out with him going, man, I wish I lived closer to him.
Yep.
He was that guy, you know?
Yep.
But luckily I had Joey Diaz. Joey's
like your guy.
West Coast Patrice.
Yeah.
He was very much like that. Joey Diaz was very much like that. Like we would all line up the back of the room when Joey Diaz was lighted on fire.
Yeah.
And all the people I've ever seen kill, I've never seen anybody hit Joey Diaz RPMs. He would have these bits that they were so funny that you couldn't. He could say things you weren't allowed to say.
Yeah.
Because he was like a human cartoon. You weren't even sure if he was real.
Yeah. Like, is this guy white? Is he Spanish?
His timing was fucking perfect. And he would nail punchlines and turn beat red, and people would be falling out of their seats. There's multiple times I've been in that original room where I go, God, I wish we were filming this.
Yeah.
I wish we were filming this because I don't think anybody's gonna understand if they're not here right now.
You know, Fahim just put out his special.
Yes.
And shouts to Fahim. Go check out Hat Trick. But that's that idea for the special. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Joey do that too. And because Joey, for me, I was like, you have to understand him within the space of the store.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, there's something magical about it. And I didn't understand it until I went out there and I saw him for the first time. You had been telling me a lot about him, and I remember just sitting and watching. And it was... it was special, man.
I'm working with Joey in Atlantic City this weekend for the first time in years. I haven't been on stage with him in like 2 years.
God bless.
I gotta watch him.
Yeah. I told him, like, whatever you want to do. What do I have to do to fucking get you back in there? I'm like, dude.
Is this his first time back on stage?
No, he's been on stage a bunch of times.
Okay, good.
He did a bunch of shows with Brian Callen, and he's tuned up. He's ready to rock. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I can't believe we got him back. Yeah.
Nah. Yeah, Joey's a fucking beast.
He was like, you have like specific roles in like these communities, you know? In the Comedy Store community, Joey Diaz was just pure chaos. You would drop him in, and like during like the drug Joey days, like during the early days when he was like a straight up criminal, he reminded me so much of my friend Johnny. So much.
Johnny, who's...
Pool hustler.
The pool hustler. The pool hustler, yeah.
Joey was like just like him.
Yeah.
Like a wild dude from the streets, but like a good dude.
Yeah.
Like I knew he was a good solid dude. And we were friends like instantly. And he would come to the news radio set, and he was a gorilla back then. I mean, he was like... way thinner and like built like, don't you do it.
Yeah.
He was wearing a leather jacket, built like a football player. And all those NBC studio executives would get mad because he was eating all of their
snacks. Okay.
Let the man tell
like,
a story.
Jesus Christ, you fucking child, you children. I would laugh too. I would laugh too.
So wait a minute, he would just show up to set just to see.
I would come with him. I would bring him with me.
But he wasn't on the show. He was just hanging
he's
out.
my boy.
Getting on track, Andrew.
This is like 1996.
Yeah.
We were both like, I was probably like 28, and Joey was like a little older than me. And Joey had just got to LA straight from prison.
Wait, did he?
He's always in and out of jail. I think he was like running from something in Seattle. He had to come back to LA. Like there's a warrant out for him for the longest time. He couldn't get a passport to go places because all the he kidnapped a drug dealer with a machine gun.
Fire.
Wow.
Yeah. No, Joey Diaz did real time. Joey Diaz is, but he's a uniquely beautiful soul. And even though I knew all that shit that he did real time and everything, I know what you are. I know what you are. You're a great guy who just had a crazy life.
You collect these guys.
These guys are valuable. They're everything. They're life, man. Those are Sam Kinnisons. Those are the Richard Pryors.
But why do you think?
Because they don't fit in, and that's how you see what it is for real. Like if you're not a part of it, you see what it is for real.
Because you don't have to operate
You're not
based on the
operating
part
in
of
that
it.
system.
Yeah.
Joey Diaz found his mother dead on the floor when he was on acid.
No, that's what it is.
When he was like 14 years old.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No, when you're a part of a community,
when
you
he
gotta,
tells that story,
yeah.
your goosebumps just stand up. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So it's like those type of people from that angst and that unusual view of the world
Have to find themselves.
Yes.
And sometimes themselves is a little outside of the norm. It's outside of the group.
They find it through the most potent form of entertainment.
Yeah.
All of our great rock stars, all of our great comics, all of our great hip hop artists, all of them come from crazy backgrounds. Not all of them, obviously. That's a big generalization. But I'm trying to make my point.
No, I understand what you're saying. I think that
You don't get it, Joey Diaz in a suburb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't-
but
they don't
more,
turn out
it's like
that.
there's a freedom to being outside if you're willing to harness
Yes.
it. And the freedom is you get to actually find who you are.
Well, the reality is there's no real outside. Like people feel like they're outside, but so many people feel like they're outside. There's a lot of people. And when you go to a comedy club, all the other people also feel like they don't get it. They laugh at your point. They go, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if even it's what you're saying is wrong, but it's funny. It's like that's where it's like we're fucking with the wiring. One of my favorite bits that you do is that bit that you do about countries where they treat their women terribly.
Got the best food, boy.
They have the best food. You ever eat Canadian food? That bit is so good. Because like if you were a terrible person, you wanted to misrepresent who you are, you would write that, oh, this is just saying that women belong in the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's not what they're saying.
No.
That's not what you're saying. You're saying something funny. It's a funny thing to say.
I did this talk, like Noam from the Comedy Cellar. Do you know Noam?
Yeah.
You would love Noam. Like you
I know
guys.
Noam.
Okay, good.
I worked at his club way back.
I know, but he's he's an interesting guy.
No,
like,
Andrew should connect you with Noam. I don't think he knows him.
I can get you an audition at the Comedy Cellar. Like that
could be good for you, dude.
I
That
got
could
you.
be
Yeah. No, but
Moving on up. Shout out to all these comedy club owners,
But
man. Without them,
he had an interesting conversation. He had this like talk where there were these like intellectual dudes. This guy named Glenn Lowry. Do you know?
Yeah,
Glenn
sure.
Yeah. So him and a few other dudes, and they had some comics on stage, and we were just talking about random things and comedy and political correctness and culture, et cetera. And there was just like a moment on stage where I was talking like we should never be together. Like we don't have to have these conversations because you guys say what's right and we say what's funny. And I think what happens is the people that say what's right expect the people that say what's funny to be right. And that's where our jokes become more than jokes and where we get in trouble. If we're just out here just making jokes and talking shit and just being funny with no stakes, and then people look at us and they're like, oh no, these are the next intellectuals. They are going to tell us how to think. That's when we can't make the craziest jokes.
well, one of the arguments is that like if you say crazy things in the name of being funny, then other people that are not as smart as you will say those things and they'll be hurtful. They'll feel like they have license to say those things.
Maybe.
I had a drag queen tell me that after a show.
Maybe.
It was very intimidating. She was wearing Kiss boots. But it's one of those things, it's like, I don't know if you're responsible for the dumbest people in your audience.
You're not.
I don't know how that works.
You're not.
And I feel like at a certain point in time, we have to agree that most people love comedy. If you don't love comedy, you have to opt out of this conversation. So if you love comedy, you must agree that a lot of what people say, they don't mean. They just think it's a funny thing to say. Like, this is an art form. Just like Quentin Tarantino is not really killing women when he's making Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
This is what we used to say about
There's no
violent
dead
movies.
women involved in the production of that movie.
Correct.
Yeah, the violent movies, violent rap,
Yes.
Eminem, getting
All
all
those things.
Let's just move toward comedy. It'll move on.
But it's
eventually.
also like the problem is it seems like you're just talking. It seems like it's not like something
Right.
you've created that you've manipulated language in order to get a surprise result that makes people go bah.
Yeah.
And it seems like your statements because they sound just like everybody else when they talk.
Yes. But I also think it's because that's how we feel and we can have wrong feelings. And I think that's the biggest difference.
What's wrong though? If you feel it,
No, I mean,
like you don't have
somebody
to
might
like
cut
it.
you off in traffic, and you might think the worst possible thing for that car, and then 3 seconds later you go, it was just upset in the moment. Don't people
Right.
like get out of? Don't people like?
Oh, yeah.
They don't get
Rage.
life in jail for murdering somebody because they had moments of rage.
You know what that's from?
Temporary insanity.
Temporary insanity.
You know what that
That's
road
what comedy
rage
is.
shit from?
Temporary insanity. This is my crazy thought in the moment, and then I'm gonna say it again, and it's gonna be funny, but I don't feel that way anymore. Simple as that.
What are you saying?
Comedy's temporary insanity. My funniest moment, my funniest thought, and my knee-jerk reaction to something, and I'm gonna craft it and add words and add ideas and wrap myself around it.
No.
What?
Yeah, like,
Marijuana might not be for you.
Yeah, like, what you say right
We
now?
went.
Like,
You were trying to defend some insufferable position.
Nope.
Yo, the joke about the woman food thing.
He didn't say.
I don't think you should
He
actually
didn't say
treat.
it was a wrong position. He said it was insufferable.
No, that's a great word.
It's a very
You
specific
can
word.
throw people off your trail. It's like
Everybody's
covering your tracks with
Insufferable
leaves.
means
crafty.
it
It's
sucks.
crafty.
It doesn't mean it's wrong.
It's a good word.
It means it's shitty.
It's a solid word if you're trying to be deceptive. If you know trying to obfuscate, whatever.
Obfuscate. Hey, somebody got a high score on his SATs.
Let's
yo.
go, bro.
Yeah. Fuck it. Yeah, fuck it, dude. Let's just make the jokes. Who gives a fuck what anybody says about it? If they want to write think pieces, who gives a fuck?